Microphone check, mic checker. What up? This is DJ Moist. What it do? Yup, my voice is this sexy. I'm a little raspy, man. Sorry about that. So, this is it. This is the project y'all been waiting for. Been sitting on my hard drive for over a year now. And, I'm tired of trying to shop this shit or get it on some network or whatever it is, man. We're just going to release it. That's the move happening this week. So I just want to get that out there, put it out there. Please let me know what you like, what you don't like. I got some great interviews in the can. I'm working on some new ones. We're going to do some solo shit too, talking sports, talking pop culture, talking Hollywood, talking Cleveland, Los Angeles, all of that, man. So bear with me while I find my bearings. I'm here at least once a week. That's my promise. I'm going to try to do 2 a week, especially during the Cleveland season. We're going to do a game recap every Sunday or Monday, maybe a Tuesday when we got those primetime games. But yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for your support ahead of time. This first interview is with Christopher Kid Reid, Kid and Play, House Party, all that. Dude's OG, absolute legend in the game. Still rocking, still doing his thing, still hustling. And couldn't be more just candid and real, guy who's been through it all and came out the other side, and he's doing good. I love sitting down with him. We at Barneys Beanery in West Hollywood, and so you're going to hear a little bit of ruckus in the background, but it's nothing too crazy. And fun fact, he rolled in with Nick Schwartzen, and dude just sat at the bar and watched college basketball all the time. This is Deeper Shade of Soul podcast. Quickly, this week, I'm at Moist Mondays at La Cita every Monday. The Short Stop, back in the day, Wednesdays, every Wednesday. I'm rocking R Bar Saturday. I got the Lash Friday, and I'm at Footsie's on Sunday. So, got a busy week in town. Coming to New York, second week of September for that Jets-Browns game. You know how we do. Heading down to Cleveland after that. Going to go to that Rams-Browns game. Start that season 3-0, hopefully. That's how we're doing, man. Just going to keep it short and sweet this time around. Just want to get to the business. Let you hear Chris tell his thing, tell his story. Very, very inspiring story. And just a hard-working dude. We are sponsored by the Winchester Music Tavern, 12112 Madison Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio. Cleveland's premier independent owner-operated music venue. They got a bomb kitchen, open late. Check them out, thewinchestermusictavern.com. Peace out. All right, man. So
let's get moist.
What's happening right now, huh?
I'm glad to say that there's a lot of different and exciting things happening.
Yeah. You were in the booth with CL Smooth recently. I just got him on the mics. So
right.
What's happening there?
Well, you know what? CL is an old friend of ours from back in New York, and a couple years ago, a good friend of ours that works with both of us thought it'd be smart to get us together because CL was trying to do some new material.
Right.
He hadn't done new material in several years.
Yeah.
And he kind of expressed the desire to kind of get out the box a little bit and not work as much.
A little more experimental and
you know what I mean. I think he and Pete Rock still perform together, and that's important.
Well, that's what we talked because
people like to see them together.
Pete's sound is clearly he's influenced by Pete's sound just because those beats are so like
right, no question. And they had a great sound together.
Yeah.
Some really
a special sound between
special
them.
songs that holds up to this day.
Right.
But I think in CL wanting to come back, he kind of expressed the desire to maybe not come the same way that he's always come.
Sure.
To try to expand and stretch as an artist.
Dope.
So
So you stay working, man. I'm here with like a 30-year veteran, right?
Damn near
30 years, right?
Damn near.
So
not quite, but let's hope.
Christopher
we get there.
Kid Reid.
That's right.
We are doing it.
Kid is in the building.
I mean, Kid is in the building. Yeah, man.
And we're at the world famous Barneys Beanery.
I'm telling you what. A lot of things. I think Janis Joplin had a famous night here.
Janis Joplin and Jim Morrison, I think, smashed on the bar.
Shit went down.
There's all kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, dude. So
it's a great place, but to further answer your question, I mean, it's important at this stage of the game, if you're 25, 30 years in, to find new challenges.
Keep moving, keep doing stuff. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, if we get an opportunity to write and write songs and produce with CL Smooth, that's awesome.
And that's the thing. I don't know if people realize, like, you Kid at Play might have taken some breaks, but you've never taken breaks, really, as far as I could tell. I mean, you've always had your hand in something. You were either helping someone with producing, or you were writing, or you were hosting, or you doing stand-up, or you've been moving and shaking, man.
Well, Moist, I got to tell you, these baby mamas don't pay for themselves, okay? These kids and baby mamas, they just
the tab keeps running.
They just keep eating for some reason. They just don't stop eating. Like you feed them 1 week, and then next week they're hungry again.
And for some reason, it happens all over. It's sick.
Yeah, you're right. I think when in the past when Play and I have taken some breaks, it's actually been good for us in the long run because look, as tight as we are and as much as we are associated with one another, particularly in the mid '90s. After we had so much success, we were both kind of feeling like, hey man, let's kind of do some separate things. There's some, as much as we're alike and as much as we enjoy playing and performing with one another, there are some separate interests and
explore your personal tastes and things like that.
Exactly. So part of that was me leaving New York to come to Los Angeles, which I did in the late '90s. And, we had good friends of mine like Bill Maher and Tommy Davidson urged me to get into the stand-up game. So we did that in '99.
So let's go back real quick. So you guys, obviously, people got to know you about early '90s, but when did you start even thinking about being a performer? I mean, you grew up outside. I knew you had Queens in your history, and then you've been a couple different boroughs around. But where did you mainly grow up?
Well, I was born in the Bronx, but my major lived in Staten Island for a little while. But when hip hop hit and hit me, I was in Queens, in an area called East Elmhurst, right near LaGuardia Airport, and Play lived around the corner. We lived around the corner from each other. So I mean, we've known each other since we were like 12 or 13 years old.
And what kind of music was in your house? Like, was your pops rocking different kind of stuff, or like what kind of?
My father's Jamaican, so I grew up with my father raised me. So in his house, there was everything from reggae music. He was a big jazz guy. So we had all kind of, we had 33, 30 records. We had 78 records. Those big joints, right? So we had that. So what happens? And R&B and and
when you come with like an African Bambaataa cassette tape, like what happens? Like is he like what is this? Like
it was a thing.
So what happens? Like
look. My father was a Jamaican immigrant, and he was about education. He didn't know nothing about hip hop, whatever. He didn't, he just
that
knew
hippity hop.
Yeah, he just knew. He used to call it yugga music. You always listen to this yugga music. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but yeah, he just knew it was the music that was keeping me out. Late at night. You know what I'm saying?
He wasn't so hot to that.
No, not at all. And when you come in 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning when you're 16, in a Jamaican household, you're gonna get beat.
Shit's going down.
You're gonna get beat. You're gonna get put on punishment. But then as soon as the punishment was over, I go right back to the club. Then I get beat again. Punishment for 2 weeks. Come back.
And we're not talking like 2017 beatings, like little smack. We're talking about an ass whooping.
We're talking about beat downs. We're talking about like no belt.
So you love the music that much,
exactly.
That
that's what he had to, and that's what he had to figure out.
You
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
He would be
He's
on
like, what the fuck's wrong with my kid?
He'd be on the phone with relatives of ours, and he couldn't understand. He said, I beat him, and I beat him. And the boy still won't go to the party.
This must mean something to him.
Right. Exactly. So what he did was, and this is a true story, he snuck in. He saw like a flyer on a kitchen table one time for some local thing that we were doing.
And this where you were with Play at that point? Or
Play and I were in different groups. Like we were performing at the same It was actually at a local hotel.
Right.
But at the time, we were all friends, but we were like in different groups.
Yeah.
So my father, called himself. I got to find out what's going on. He's, doing some intel or something like that. So he comes
Post
to the
up
party.
in the back.
Yeah. Apparently. So I came back home later on.
Yeah.
On time this time. And then he was sitting in the kitchen. He was like, I went to your liquor party. And I was excited. I was like, oh man,
cool.
Did you see what you think?
Are you proud?
And he was like, let me tell you something. First of all, the music was very loud.
that was his initial reaction.
That was the thing. And then, but I think that was part of, look, to me, that's part of being a good parent.
Sure.
And honestly, it was something that later on, when parents would come to me after we had gotten famous, and parents would come to me saying, hey man, my son wants to do this, and they love the music, and they want to cut his hair like you, and he's dancing all the time. And I would just kind of urge him. I said, look, look into it. It's not bad.
Right.
Be a part of it. Understand it. And that's as hardcore as my dad was back in the days. He took the time to try to.
He had the vision to see possibly get something.
Yeah. Now it wasn't like he just let the floodgates loose after that. There's still rules and regulations, but he was able to kind of get his mind around it. That hey, this is something new. And coming from where he came from back in the days when jazz was going through those growing pains, so he saw kind of a parallel.
A totally new art form that becomes
he
something.
Remembered how when he was a young man, just getting to this country, he was in the jazz clubs all night because that music kind of spoke to him.
That's the only time you could hear it too. There wasn't mainstream slots and shit for that kind of stuff.
No, I mean, and where was black people supposed to go with that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He couldn't go. You know what I'm saying? He came here in the 40s.
Right.
So. With that mindset, the understanding started to grow.
Yeah.
To the point where they start picking up things and seeing people. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Hey, I see your boy Chunky D. I was like, don't you mean Heavy D? Yes, man, the big boy. Yes, man.
Right.
So, and then later on, the cherry on the cake was. Years later, when we already, I think a house party come out, so things are doing real well. We've been on tour for a few years.
Things are popping.
Well known, yeah. And my dad was retiring, so I wanted to do something nice for him. So I wanted to buy him a car, so for his retirement. So went down to the dealership. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Got him a car and whatnot, and then he just, he was touched by it, and he said, I always believed in you.
That's how it is, right?
I said, man, you gonna sit up and take credit? He said, no, I believe in everything.
And
give me the black Lexus.
To be completely honest, he probably did, right? But like he probably also realized, shit, I gotta instill some discipline in this whole thing because I don't know where it's going. But I think probably his heart of hearts, he did believe in you, but it was his own way.
There was rules and regulations. Look, you had to be in school. You had to, I mean, I had to go. I went to college. I got my college degree. If I wasn't in school, I was working, until I left the house. You know what I'm saying? We understood that those were the requirements.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean, like in certain communities, that's like if you just graduate from bigger schools and study too hard, like you're a nerd, right? Like you have that thing. And back when you were doing it, nerd wasn't fucking nerd today. Russell Westbrook glasses and all that kind of shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? You had to kind of.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? Did you just sort of own like what was really you, and you're like, this is gonna be me. I'm gonna let it out, or how did
I tell you what helped. Two things helped because I definitely was a nerd. If I could show you old school pictures of me with a big afro, big Coke bottle glasses, everything.
But that shit's hot now. Do you know what I mean?
Super hot, but then the 80s,
that's the thing.
Not so much.
Yeah.
So one of the things I did, particularly when I was in high school and just navigating the early days in hip hop was, look, just trying to be good at my craft in terms of rhyming and writing and having a strong voice that stood out. That was number one. And then number two, which served me a lot later on was, being funny, deflected
got you out of some shit
all the time.
Yeah.
And to the point where, the tough guys either in my neighborhood or, around my high school, they adopted me. Like they easily could have been,
because you could snap.
It could have been wedgies all day long, all semester long. But it wasn't like that. So, in the tradition of people like Richard Pryor, or just in terms of moving your talent forward, I tried to stand out with that. So I just wasn't the regular, pocket protector
Exactly.
nerd. You know, I was nerd
You were hip with it.
2.0. Yeah,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I was a hip hop nerd.
And the thing too, I have always drawn a correlation between stand-up and MC, because I think you're up there on your own. You might have a partner or you whatever, but it's kind of like you and the audience. And so you mentioned Richard Pryor. Were you watching comedians early on?
Absolutely.
What was your thing with that?
Absolutely. I mean, a fan of comedy from day one. You know, when I was growing up in elementary school and junior high, I was a
comedy
class
got
clown.
hot around the same time hip hop got hot in that special way. You know, like that was a thing. Like,
yeah, and the thing of it was this. Look, fans of so many different comedians, and then as it went later on, I became very close friends with, you know, you're talking about people like Martin Lawrence, you're talking about Dave Chappelle, you're talking about Nick Swartzen, you're talking about Bill Maher, Tommy Davidson. These are people that are some of my closest friends in the world. So years before I attempted to be a stand-up, I was around these people all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? And these are the people that turned around and urged me to get into it. They were like, yo, you can do this, you can do this. And to your point, when I started to do it, the first thing we did was Oprah Winfrey was doing a program on her show called Funny People and Who They Think Are Funny.
I remember that. And you could bring in a friend or whatever. Yeah.
Right. So D.L. Hughley brought on some more. Jon Stewart brought on Louis Black.
Okay.
Bob Saget brought on this white dude. I forgot him, but he was very funny as well. And Bill Maher brought me on.
Oh shit.
And basically came on, did an interview and said, "Yo, this is one of the funniest dudes that I know." And and then we all went on, did our stand up. So that was just something that I could add to it. But once I started doing it regularly, I agree with you. It felt way more familiar than it should be.
You didn't have the learning curve that all the people had to have.
Half the battle about being a stand-up is becoming comfortable on stage.
Yeah.
I already had that. I had years in the game on a rap tip.
Yep.
So that wasn't my issue. My issue was I had to translate
craft a joke
the music thing to being funny.
No, it's the same shit. Like you got 16 bars, but you got a setup and a punchline. It's kind of very similar to this.
And then over time, initially you just kind of do what you got to do and try to learn, but eventually you have to kind of create your own lane and your own voice.
Sure.
So look, I'm 18 years in now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I got a show tonight at the Brea Improv, so it's something I keep doing.
About stand-up too is like you can age gracefully in stand-up, whereas in hip-hop you're always up against a thing, and there's plenty of people that can do it, but you're never gonna lose that criticism. There's always gonna be like, oh, why is he still trying to rhyme? Why is he still?
Right.
Whereas like,
well, I feel like that. I agree. I feel like that's changing a little bit.
It definitely starting to.
But it's, excuse me, it's important and incumbent upon the artist as he ages to age gracefully. Right. Like you said, stand up is different. As long as I can talk,
you're funny.
I mean, I'll be doing exactly. As long as I can talk, I can do stand up, till the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I do a lot of voiceover stuff. As long as I can talk, I can do that.
Yeah.
Rhyming and forming, it's a little bit different. And I think one of the things we try to do, and even in working with somebody like CL Smooth, like how do you, if you're in your 40s or even if you're in your 50s, how can you be, relevant and still age appropriate?
Embrace.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be, I can't be 53 with skinny jeans twerking and all that. That's not what people want to see. That's not what I want to see. So for me personally, I've tried to kind of create, I think you want something as legitimate and as organic to who you are as possible.
Absolutely.
So look, I'm a big, I'm a funny dude. I'm a well-known dude for a few things, for the hair, for the dancing.
Yeah.
I'm known to, have a good time continuously. We're in the weed game. People know that by now. They know we like to kick it and party.
We're gonna get on that later
it's
too.
It's almost like the lane I was creating was almost like an OG that the young G's can fuck with.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
No, because you guys
like
definitely,
a hip-hop Jack Nicholson. That's kind of what that is.
In my opinion, you were a template for mainstream corporate people to be like, damn, like this is not just some fad that's about to go away. And I don't know, I mean, how much were you brought in on that, or did it just start to take off when you guys, because I mean, obviously you cut a record, you start making music, right? And then what happened? You start doing some shows.
We were very fortunate. What happened as Kid and Play,
first of all, how did the name come about? Like, did you guys have that beforehand, or?
Yeah, we had our individual names when Play and I were in two different groups.
Right.
My original name was Kid Cool Out.
Okay.
Because you always had to have Kid this or Mr. that.
Now it's Lil, but same shit.
This, you know? So mine was Kid Cool Out, and Plays was Playboy because he was like whatever.
Yeah.
So through the different groups that we were in kind of breaking up and you know, reshaping. You know, he and I were always tight, so we were like, yo, why don't we just do something together?
Fuck with something.
And another cat that was in our neighborhood that we grew up with was Herbie Lovebug, the famous music producer.
We got to talk about him a little bit.
Right, who had created Salt and
Haitian
Pepper.
producer back in the day, man. Come on.
Who loved hip hop. And you know, he had already broken Salt and Pepper.
Right.
So he was like, yo, I'll bring you up under that umbrella. You know, if you go back to early Salt and Pepper videos, you see us in the back.
You guys were dancing. Yeah.
Before we got on. And
so Herbie kind of was the guy who took you under a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, we had been flitting around with some other local producers and managers and stuff like that.
That was when it got real.
It didn't really, it hadn't clicked because look, Herbie was you know, Herbie.
You give a quick little rundown on Herbie because I know a lot of people don't know that.
You know, Herbie Lovebug is responsible, you know, for Kid and Play, for Salt and Pepper, Kwame, Sweet Tea.
And his style, I don't know. He loved to sample like the James Brown stuff and different things.
When that was it, he did that. But then, you know, he's the guy that wrote What a Man for Salt and Pepper.
Right.
He's the guy that wrote Push It.
Yeah.
You know, so many hits. None of Your Business. Let's Talk About Sex. You know, he worked on all our big hits. Rolling with Kid and Play and Getting Funky and Do This My Way. Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody. Stuff like that. I mean, his hits are well known. But more importantly, Herbie was a great producer because he knew what he wanted, and when he could get it out of you.
You mean like when you get to the studio?
Yeah. Now it could take a long time, and you might not be. You might be mad about it
Get
at the time.
frustrated or whatever.
Yeah, because he wants something real specific. Because he was trying to do something different. When he created Salt and Pepper, he didn't want typical girls rhyming. There wasn't a lot of them anyway, but he wanted them rhyming in a way that had a lot of personality.
Power.
Power when you needed to, but also sexiness when you need to, and nuance, and not just not just straight rhyming all the time.
No, but it's like a
so
groove.
These are the moments that he made us stick around in the studio and say, nah, man, do it over, and you'd be mad as hell.
You don't know what he's getting at.
But when you got to listen to the record when it was done, when you listen to it years later and it holds up, you just like, I get it.
Damn.
I get it. He was right because you know, he just didn't want to do it the regular way. He wanted to do it, you know, almost as a, you know, just something different. I mean, you know, he knew it when he heard it. And
so when did that click? Like, when did you guys go from making a few tracks, you know, you got a little local buzz? When did like, oh shit, like we can quit our jobs maybe, or we can, you know, we're going on tour? How did that go down?
Well, I think we dropped our first single, which was called Last Night Changed It All. That was '87. Then we started we had a like a single deal with Select Records. They were just kind of knocking off singles. So Last Night did very well. So we got another single. That was Do This My Way. Do This My Way did very well. That was our first video when we first started doing the dance and people could see us and see what we looked like and whatever.
That's when videos really popped up.
First started to pop, right? Yeah. So then the third single was Getting Funky, which was, you know, our best video to date. Lots of dancing, lots of New York flavor.
Hot.
Then the record company was like, okay, now we'll give you an album deal.
Okay.
So we get the album deal, and you know, that first album started making a lot of noise. That first album went platinum. So in '88 we started opening up for Salt and Pepper. We went Salt and Pepper, Keith Sweat, Johnny Camp, Heavy D. And you know, just incrementally things just started happening and to the point where, you know, we were well known enough for you know, cats like the eventual director of House Party, to, you know, approaching us and saying, "Hey, man."
So that's Reggie, which
Reggie Hudlin.
I mean, that
Reginald Hudlin.
I'd love for you to talk about him a little bit. We'll get right there. But so how does that happen? Like, you're getting a buzz, you're getting an interesting thing. Reggie obviously had this idea. Wasn't it his thesis project or something like that that he had?
Well, this is what happened. Originally,
were you guys thinking about movies at all? Was that ever like a thing?
We had actually been approached, particularly Salt and Pepper, because Salt and Pepper were huge at that time, and they were bigger than us. So they had been approached. Herbie had been approached about possible projects for them, possible projects for us.
Okay.
You know, we read a few things, but nothing was exciting. It sounded real, you know, typical,
just dated and corny and whatever.
Exactly. Word corny was definitely the word. Now, at that same time, Reggie Hudlin was a video director.
Okay.
So I used to see Reggie in the clubs in New York all the time. And he would roll up on me and be like, "Yo, man, you know, you should let us shoot your music videos." And he was cool, but we already had a guy. You know, the guy that did our early music videos, we were perfectly
keeping him in the family.
We were happy with him, so it wasn't broke. But, you know, I used to see him and say, "Hey, man, you know, I appreciate
he's hustling.
I appreciate the interest and whatever." But then one time he came to me in the club and he says, "Yo," he says, "I got a movie for y'all." And I'm like, word? He's like, yeah,
That's
man.
different.
He said, yeah, I mean, it's different. And he was, he was quite, he was impassioned about it and fervent about it. So, I got, Herbie was also our manager at the time, not just our producer.
Okay.
So, we went down there and met with him and his brother. His brother was his producer, Warrington Hudlin. And
it was like Hudlin Productions or something like that.
They call themselves the Hudlin Brothers.
Right.
So the long and short of it was, typically when stuff like that went down, if there was something to read, they would give it to me.
Sure.
They'd be like, kid, read this.
Check it out.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, kid, you went to college, you go read this. So I'm like, fine.
Play's over there with the girls, and then you can just let him know.
Play's like, because Play was blasé about it. He was like, he could go either way.
Sure.
But I said, you know what, let me read this. So I read it, the original House Party script. And what I told Herbie and what I told Play was, hey man, it ain't all the way there. But it's like
something's up.
It's like 70% there.
Right.
And I think that we can bring it the rest of the way.
Your personality can finish it. Yeah.
And whatever hip hop legitimacy that we have, and right. Herbie being there in some creative capacity or whatever like that, to make sure that we're not doing something corny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because he didn't write it for you guys. He just wrote it for a hip hop.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So
right. And so I was like, yo, I think we should do it. Whatever that next step was. So they took us down to Reggie and Warrington, where they were hot on us. They wanted us to do it. They'd seen our videos. They knew. They said, "Yo, we think these are the guys."
Yeah.
And when we were starting to bubble right now at that time, so it was cool. So they took us down to New Line Cinema's office. It used to be down on 14th Street, and we met with the owner of New Line Cinema, Bob Shea. There was some other executives, Janet Grillo, some other executives, and we sat in this cramped office
hashed it out
and talked about it.
Yeah.
And then they asked us to do like some improv between Play and I to see if about this, if there was some chemistry or whatever like that. Yeah. And to be honest, I thought we didn't do that well that day. So I was just like, well, there goes that movie stuff. Whatever. Well,
get back on the road.
Yeah, exactly. But a few days later, they hit us up and it was like, yo, the New Line Cinema wants you to do it.
Yeah.
And let's start rocking. And even that, we still didn't believe it. After we signed up
got a
and
script
everything,
but you're like, what's gonna happen?
Everything. Yeah, we didn't think it was real until we landed in LA. Excuse me, to shoot it in '89,
right.
And we, they put us up at the Oakwood Apartments and.
Famous Oakwood Apartments.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't even that one on Barham. They had this other one from way back in the days, like in the Cut.
Really?
Like 3rd and Vermont.
Okay.
Like Koreatown.
So deep.
Yeah, in the Cut. So that's when we said, well, I guess we got to do a movie.
Right.
So and then,
at this time you hadn't really acted. I mean, you guys didn't.
No, but I think and one of the things they saw was look, Reggie. Reggie was a writer and a director.
Right.
So he got to do some directing, but. Having seen our early music videos,
yeah,
we
you
had
were
that
directable.
Vibe. And then,
you had
absolutely,
yeah.
and then and once again, I think getting back to what hip hop or rapping or being a rapper prepares you for.
Yeah.
As we can see, rapping certainly prepares you to be an actor,
right.
not just a stand-up, as many have done since then. So,
yeah.
We weren't completely. Blind or bereft, and Reggie was great with us, and look, for a lot of people in the movie, it was early in their careers.
Yeah.
So
Martin,
Martin, Tisha Campbell,
yeah.
Full Force had never done a movie before. Robin Harris this was his first starring role. So
great.
Everybody
yeah.
was, everybody, we were all kind of rookies.
Right.
But everybody was for one another. Everybody, it was a real communal kind of. Friendly,
sure.
Really chill vibe.
But so at the time you're shooting it, you think it's cool? I mean, do you have any expectations at all that it's about to take you guys to this next level that's very hard to imagine?
No, certainly not while we were doing it. Now we had a blast, but as soon as we finished it, we went right back out on some other tour
right.
and stuff like that, and thinking about writing new songs for the
next coming out.
Which was going to be called Funhouse. But I'll never forget, there was a screening. We heard that the house party was picking up momentum.
Right.
They had brought it to Sundance. It won the audience award.
So you did the festivals and all that?
No, I didn't. We didn't even do that.
Oh, really?
We didn't even go because they didn't anticipate. Reggie took the film there, and he came back with the news that it had
won the audience award.
Really, won the audience award, which is like a big deal.
That's dope.
So then New Line says, "Well, we need to go a little bit wider." But I'll never forget there was a screening in Newark, New Jersey. that Play and I went to, they hit us up in the balcony. So, and they had a bunch of high school kids. They brought a bunch of high school kids in or down below to watch the thing. So we're up there. They don't know we're up there. We're watching them watch the movie. And at first, I think we thought it was just going to be like a little teaser, a little trailer.
Right.
But they were actually showing the movie. And these kids were going out of their minds, man, like out of their minds. And to the point where when that thing was done, when that screen was done, we looked at each other and we were like,
shit's gonna pop.
Like, this is some other shit.
Right.
Like, this is, and literally, when that thing dropped, everybody who was involved with it, everyone, their lives changed.
Amazing.
For the positive.
And just talk about, because it's hard to even imagine right now, because you got like a Bieber, you got like a Drake or somebody who gets really big. But as far as that time, no one from hip hop had kind of risen to that level yet. You guys were kind of one of the first ones. You're doing a movie now. You got, and not only that, the word the industry loves to use, you got like mass appeal. You got a crossover, because you're not just touching to certain demographics or ages. You got a wide variety of people that started to get on you guys. So,
right. Well, you know what? Look, it was a great time for hip hop. If you're talking about late '80s, early '90s,
a lot of platinum albums, a lot of people.
and in particular those types of groups that did break it wide. You weren't just talking about Kid and Play. You were obviously talking about Salt and Pepper. You talking about MC Hammer.
Yeah.
You talking about Vanilla Ice. You talking about Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. You talking about Heavy D and the Boys. Stuff like that. Big Daddy Kane.
Yep.
You talking about just a great era that helped
performers too, like all guys.
Yeah.
They were dancing. They were doing. It wasn't just up there with a mic, which I love.
Right.
But it was what you guys were doing. There was like a show, like a full-on entertaining show.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of gets lost a little bit in modern hip hop in a certain way.
You know what? It's different now. You know what I mean? I think we come from an era where it was almost like, you had to do more than one thing. You had to write, produce, sing, rap, dance,
whatever you had.
Could you draw? Could you
do a backflip?
Like, can you do? So we come from that era. Maybe today there's more specialists.
Right.
That just do one or two things really
right.
well, and that carries the day for them. But yeah, we were always kind of brought up to be very entertaining, be very demonstrative, fun loving.
Right.
But basically it was being ourselves.
That was
as a Kid and Play, Kid and Play wasn't going to come talking about gun stuff and all that. That's not our vibe. Now we come across that world, and a lot of those rappers are contemporaries and friends of mine. But that's not the music we were doing at the time. So and I think we tapped into that because look, hip hop was expanding, and people were like, well, if I'm not feeling the gangster stuff, like what's in it for me?
Where do I go?
Hey, look at these guys.
Right.
Look at Salt and Pepper. Look at all this fun. Look at the colors. Look at people dancing, having fun. Ain't gonna hurt nobody.
Right.
That type of stuff. So
the callbacks, oh wow, you had all that stuff,
that's
man.
Look, I studied a lot of and listened to a lot of music coming up, and once again getting back to Herbie. Herbie was he encouraged us to write songs that were inclusive, that had things for people to say, that people could join in and say, and have a good time.
Yeah.
With. So that's where we were. We grew up like that.
What was the writing process like for you guys? I mean, would he throw you guys a beat and then you just jump in, see what came, and then he'd kick you some stuff?
Well, we had specific duties. Either Herbie or some of the beat makers under his tutelage, the Idol Makers staff. Excuse me, I would get a beat, and it was my job to basically write the song and write the rhymes.
Right.
Play's job was to, all the artistic stuff.
Yeah.
All the logos,
image, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Album covers, stuff like that. And so, I have to trust him doing that, and then he has to trust me in terms of the writing because I know how to write for him. I know
You knew his voice.
I know his voice. I know what he likes to do. I know what he doesn't like to do. Put him in the best position, possible. So I get a beat, write the rhymes, but it was a collaborative process. And at the end, Herbie was great at bringing all those elements together and polishing it, like the same way like a Diddy was good at that. You know what I'm saying? He could make I remember coming in
I heard Diddy went to one of your sessions, one of his first times in the studio. I heard.
I mean, I don't doubt that. I mean, you know, Diddy was, to be honest, Diddy ended up doing what Herbie did, like with Idolmakers. Herbie was one of the first guys
got a bunch of
acts. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Bad Boy was, you know, I mean, we used to see Diddy all the time. Diddy was from New York. We used to see him at Howard Homecoming. We used to see him down wherever. So, you know, I mean, I know he's been in the studio with us and tried to see how this thing works.
He's a student of the game too, man.
So, you know, with that in mind, that was you know, this is the way we were taught. We were taught mass appeal.
Yeah.
We weren't taught, you know, I mean, you could try to throw a couple of grimy ones, you know, on the
here
on
and
the
there,
album
a
for
little
shits
B-side
and
or
giggles.
something, whatever.
Yeah, but that's not the ones we go on the radio with. That's not the ones.
Right.
And also too, what we ended up doing was, you know, we were able to kind of help one another out. You know, there's stuff I've written for Salt and Pepper.
Right.
There's other stuff to thing, and Kwame was involved as well. And you know,
they try this verse or try this rhyme or whatever.
Or when it came out, look, when Salt and Pepper gave us a great boost by putting us in their music videos when we were coming up and including us in their thing.
Right.
You know, when we got hot, then we got to reach back. We
You
got
gotta
to reach
put
back
someone
and
else
bring
on.
up. Yeah, we bring up Kwame. Kwame is in a gang of our videos, and we was in his videos to show, hey man, he's part of Idolmakers Camp. You know, brought him out on tour with us. You know, we threw Kwame in our movie Class Act. So that, you know, that was the vibe that was taught. That was Herbie's kind of each one teach one vibe.
Right. So you guys. Now you have, let's say, at least the first house party. Shit is full on popping. Like you are as big as probably you're ever gonna be, and you're living in New York in the '90s when hip hop is becoming explosive.
Right.
There's no iPhones. There's no cameras.
Not really. Just them big ass.
So
phones.
What was going down? Like when you go, what was the party scene like in New York with the athlete? I know you're a sports guy.
Right.
What I mean, that just had.
It was crazy.
I can't even imagine.
No, it was crazy, and it was a great time in New York. You know what I'm saying? The you know, the New York Giants were winning.
LT around.
LT was always around.
He had a bar, a restaurant.
Yeah. He had a sports bar right by Giant Stadium. We used to go there all the time.
Is there any surveillance tapes of that place?
I hope not. I sure hope not. Cause you know what I'm saying. I sure hope not, because they used to get it in up there. They had a VIP up there.
I can't even imagine.
That was, but all the, you know, look, back then
a lot of love too. It seemed like you guys all kind of had it.
It was a great time. You know, it was brand new.
Yeah. You're young, man.
We were young. Everybody was having a great time. You know, the New York at that time was just perfect for what was happening. You know, the athletes like LT, you know, Charles Oakley was my boy, Derek Coleman. These are people I used to hang with all the time. DC.
Yeah.
So we're going to all the games. We're going to the
You knew
clubs.
Mike too, right? I knew Mike Jordan, man. I knew
we know Mike.
I see a lot of pictures with you guys, but there was a story I read that you were actually in the locker room on his first champion. Is that true?
Yeah, out here. Yeah,
so tell me about that real quick.
Well, you know what? We got a chance.
So I'm a huge Mike. I mean, I'm from Cleveland. I'm LeBron all the way. But man, I grew up watching him hit that shot over Elo, and I was like, I gotta watch this dude from now on.
Well, you know? MJ is MJ. You know what? And he was a guy that was not a big hip hop fan.
Yeah.
But he liked us.
He's kind of square. Like if you read about MJ,
I mean, there's a lot of times that when that people that weren't traditionally digging hip hop, but they liked us.
That's why you were so important, man. Because you at least opened the door for people who had they'd heard Eazy-E or they heard something and were like, I'm never listening to this music.
Right.
Whereas like you guys are like, oh wait, this isn't the same genre.
Yeah,
I could.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's the same, but it's different. So, we did a project with MJ called in full force called Michael Jordan's Playground. It was a very popular tape. I
remember that.
Yeah, one of the first VHS tapes that we did. So we did that out here in LA. So everybody stayed down with one another. MJ was always great to us. So at that time when the Bulls were winning championships and everything, I mean, you know, he was hooking us up to go to all the games and whatnot. And you know, we would go to Chicago.
And you like sports all the time growing up and stuff too, so that's the thing. Like,
So we would go. You know, he would let us borrow his cars, so we borrowed his cars.
Oh shit!
And he's got all the vanity plates, MJ Air, all this stuff.
Right.
So the cops ain't gonna mess with you. They don't fuck with you because they think it's him or somebody he knows.
He knows.
I mean, you could be doing donuts on Michigan Avenue, and they're not gonna fuck with you.
Yeah.
So we went to all that. The first championship against the Lakers, we went to the first two games
Chicago
in Chicago.
Right.
If you remember, game 2 was they lost the first game, won the second game. That was the up and under.
Oh yeah, left to the
yeah, right under the basket. Saw that. I saw that real time.
Damn.
So then we come out to LA.
Yeah.
1-1. Went to the 3 games out here. They finished them off in game 5, and dude, we were right in the in the dressing room.
I heard Mike didn't take his jersey off for like 10 hours or something.
Dude, and none of them did.
Really?
And yeah, and so we all went. They were staying at the Ritz-Carlton in the marina. So we all went back there to kick it and And one of the best pictures I got of all time is a picture of us at the hotel.
Yeah.
It's me, Play, and MJ. The championship trophies is in front of us. We all got glasses of champagne, and MJ's still in his uniform.
23,
like still in his uniform. It's crazy. Like I think he might have. He's still in uniform. I think he might have like one of those championship T-shirts over it or whatever like that. But he hadn't changed.
Wow.
And I knew his I know his family. I knew his father before he passed.
Right.
You know, his wife Juanita, his brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
That's pretty high.
Sure. And so that's. I mean, I can only imagine when you think about your career. It's weird because that's a pinnacle of your career. But you're not gonna stop, right? And it keeps going, and then different. Now you get to be that guy to other people, or you know what I mean?
Over time, you know, if you're lucky, you know what I mean. But there was lots of moments like that. Look, hanging out with MJ and sometimes it's like little stuff. Like sometimes it was like, it'd be me and him driving in a car.
Yeah.
And he drives like a madman. You know what I mean? He drives like a,
You got an MJ story for us? You got something? If you think of something, just an interesting thing about him.
I think there's a lot of what people have heard before about him about. Super competitive.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it is. They could be playing cars. They could be playing Tonk.
Right.
They could be playing Bones.
Uno.
They could be playing Domino. Yeah, he's gonna. He'd be racing because him and the other homeboy is trying to see who gets to the golf course quicker, and he just puts. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
We're just taking it chill.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like if me, and then I'm thinking to myself, I said, well, it might not be bad if I died in a fiery car crash with Michael Jordan. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? At least they'll talk about me. They'll talk about me more than if I died by myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he was great, and But look, the first time I met Magic was awesome. There was so many times. The first time you meet Oprah Winfrey or Maya Angelou,
right. Unbelievable.
People that one this is way back in the days. Me and Play were staying up off of Sunset at the. I think it's called the London now, but it used to be called the Bellage.
Uh-huh.
So they used to have the Tower Records over there. So we used to hang out on that Tower Records all the time. And so one day we're walking across the street, and we see this lady walking with a dude, and then we get up on her. We like, yo, it's like, yo, that's Bette Midler.
No
Bette
shit.
Midler. And she walks across us and she goes, hey, get and play.
No way.
I was like, come on, man.
Yeah,
like we like, come on, man. Don't
how
tell
does
me.
Bette Midler know us?
Don't tell me. How did we show up on your radar?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's the type of things that was going on. And to your point, as time is going on, you see that metric shifting so that, particularly when people see playing performing or hanging out somewhere or something, the young people are just like, man, look at them, man,
yeah.
like legends.
Yeah.
And they say it as legends, but then when we hear it, it's like, these niggas is old.
Do they still got it?
There's a lot of love.
So do you have any kind of relationships with a lot of these younger cats out right now? Did they reach out to you and look for advice?
I've met quite a few of them, and I would say.
Because right now there's a divide of hip hop, right? There's like all these old heads that are like, I can't listen to this new mumble shit. Yeah. And it's like it's not black and white on any side of it. To me,
I'm not like that. I'm
Yeah.
not like that. And I'm of the belief. Look, I got children in their 20s.
Right.
So I understand you have to be very creative if you're trying to get your message across. You can't be shaking your finger at them, just telling them without showing them.
Right.
Because that'll make it more, you know what I'm saying, more lasting. Look, I've met everybody from the I Am Sues to Drake to lots of these young cats. These young cats that I'm working with right now. These sugar butter biscuit dudes that we just did a new joint with.
Yeah.
And look, they show us mad love and mad respect, and they talk about how they grew up on us and they love the movies and all this and that.
Right.
And if you notice that 90s flavor is style, the look,
oh, yeah.
is really hot right now.
Dude, that's what I'm DJing.
With
you know
young,
what I mean? That's the
with
shit.
young kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It trips me out.
Harkening back, they see the fun because we don't have we done lost the fun a little bit. To me,
that's what I want to talk to you about. Like, was that a conscious thing that when you, because I mean, from day one, you couldn't listen to a Kid and Play record or watch a house party or any of your movies and not smile or dance, or did that just come organically because that's who you were? Or were you like, look, we're gonna, like, we have bad shit happen to us too, but we don't necessarily need to put that in our art. Like, we're gonna actually celebrate life. We're gonna do something to make someone happy or smile or whatever.
Right, absolutely. Look, to me, it's the one thing I love about hip hop. Hip hop can exalt you or expose you.
Right.
If you're not being yourself. I don't care if you hard and you came up hard and all you saw was hard stuff and hard shit. Yeah, talk about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I get it. You can speak to that and speak authentically.
Yeah.
So it's important. When you hear
that voice is important.
Jeezy, you believe everything he says.
Right.
When you heard Pac or Biggie,
100%.
you believe when you hear KRS-One, you believe everything they say. And that's important. Legitimacy, authenticity.
Right.
With us, it's the same way. If it's us or Salt and Pepper or Jazzy Jeff and them, or Super Lover C and Casanova Red, look, what do we like to do? Man, we like to go to a club too. Excuse me, but we don't got no guns.
Yeah.
We want to look fly. We're trying to dance. We're trying to leave with some broads. We're trying to get paid. You know what I'm saying? That's what we about.
So you're talking about where you were at, and
exactly, because look when people have done it. Look when people have gone outside that.
If they fake the funk, it's so noticeable.
I mean,
man.
you know what? Look, there was look, and everybody thinks about that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, let's get hard.
Yeah.
But if it ain't you're gonna look foolish.
Sure.
Remember that time when Hammer had this moment when he was just going
trying to get.
Yeah, and people were like, "Come on, dog."
Right. So wait, is there a freestyle, a kid freestyle where you got gangster out there somewhere, just to fuck around or whatever?
But what I will say is, I've always experimented with different flows,
like different cadences and all that stuff.
I mean, to this day, you know what I mean? Because especially because we still doing stuff now. I'm still doing stuff now.
Right.
If I guess with somebody else would do joints with CL, and I never liked when an OG would come out and do a new record, but his flow was old. Like his flow wasn't. To me, subject matter is subject matter. That's different.
Right.
But the way you doing, like you said, the cadence, the flow, you have to try
because the beats are changing too. So you gotta
bring yourself up to date with that. To me.
Yeah.
So I've always tried to be up on that because, and in particular, if I'm writing and producing for other people, I gotta know what's going on right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We know what happened back in the days. We know about that foundation, but it's important to kind of work within the workspace.
The new ears, man.
Now, the new ears, and like you said, the new beats and musical, the beds that people are working with to these days. So, look, to me, that's the beautiful thing about hip hop is it always replenishes itself.
Yep.
The cream always rises to the top.
Right.
The legends are gonna be legendary. The one hitter quitters, we need them too.
They're great.
We need them too. We need a whoop. We need a whoop. There it is.
Absolutely.
We need a this is why I'm hot.
Because like a summer needs that.
Sometimes there's gonna be a joint.
Yep.
This summer.
I was gonna say Panda, but that dude seems like he's getting back in it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it was last year. It was that was kind of the jam. He kind of came out of nowhere, right? I mean,
and then I saw him working. I was like, oh, maybe he, it was interesting because I saw Designer. I'm like, yeah, whatever. This is a one hitter. I mean, I don't know too much about his stuff, but I've heard a couple more tracks. I'm like, okay, he's actually trying to do something else other than.
He's gonna have the best opportunity. Look, and getting back to your other point, when I see some of these young cats, what I tell them is this. I said, look. You young bucks, y'all are in the front now.
Right.
You're in the forefront. Our position, we already on that wall.
Our jerseys
whatever
are
you want. Yeah, we already in the rafters. Say what you want.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So now you guys are in the front. You got the football now. What are you gonna do with it?
Show us something.
Are they gonna want you to tour 20, 25 years down the road? Are you giving them?
Right.
What are you giving them?
Is this disposable content?
Yeah. Are you giving them McDonald's?
Right.
Or are you trying to give them a steak?
Yeah.
Because we gave them steaks.
A lot of times with this new single,
they know.
This single mentality and like releasing mixtapes every 3 months, I feel like a lot of the songs, they don't want them to last. They want them to just kind of talk about the hot new thing or whatever.
All those parts make up hip hop.
But then you always got a Kendrick. You always got somebody else.
Kendrick's a legend already.
Yeah.
J. Cole, legend.
J. Cole loves J. Cole. Yeah.
Even in Nicki, they've shown they have staying power. That they can, that they have musical talent and energy far beyond a one hitter quitter.
Right.
Their fans adore them, and from record to record, they challenge themselves and their audiences. So I always say there's a phrase I have. When I meet cats, like I met Ray Shremmerd and all these young dudes. I'm like, look. Everybody needs to calm down.
Right.
Hip hop is in good hands. Hip hop is in good hands. The people at the top know what they're doing. Look,
and like you said, it's always going
to be bumps in the road? Yeah, but hip hop always regulates itself.
Yes.
Cream gonna always rise.
Yes.
The one hitters gonna be, you know what I'm saying?
They're gonna make their check and then go away.
There's always gonna be beefs.
Yep.
There's gonna be, It's gonna be Drake.
There's gonna be a new Timberland. There's gonna be a new whoever.
There's
gonna
be
come
a Remy
out.
versus Nicki. That happens because it's inherently competitive.
Bringing that up, I mean, you guys are pretty, jovial.
Yeah.
Was there ever a kid and play beef that got?
Oh yeah,
got
sure. Yeah, we did we had some beef.
What do you got?
We had beef back in the days with Vanilla Ice.
Oh shit.
And we had beef with Luke Skywalker.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. And
so what happened? Didn't he put something out on you guys and then you responded or something? And
Yeah. He did something. He thought I don't know. It was like it was a misunderstanding.
Can you quickly talk about Luke for a second? 'Cause I think a lot of people don't even know that name. But Luke was a dude, man.
Yeah, Luke. I mean, down South Florida, Luke is the man.
Yeah.
Still is the man. Look, the man that created Two Live Crew.
Exactly.
And look, in
first
his
album
own right
that I couldn't buy because my aunt was like, "You are not fucking
right. We'd never seen anything like that before, man. It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I will say this: Luke became a champion for hip hop rights and
freedom of speech and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They
banned in the USA and all that shit.
They went the whole nine.
So what happened with you guys then?
Man, they had some misunderstanding. Like, I think he thought we, dissed him or something like that. So he made a record about us, and he was jabbing at us, talking about, I don't know, like we soft or something like that, something expected.
Right.
So then,
so wait, how does that happen in that game? Like, do you get a call, be like, "Yo, Luke just dropped something," or someone hits you up?
Yeah, somebody called me and said it. So I went and got the tape and I listened to it.
Right.
And it was kind of greasy. You know what I'm saying? Not super greasy, but it was greasy.
Was it Remy Ma greasy or no?
No, not that greasy. That's popping grease
that's cool,
greasy.
Right?
That's popping. That's can't touch it greasy. But clearly he wasn't feeling us, right? And I'll never forget. I ran into him. I was by myself, and he was with his whole crew. And I ran into him in New York at the New Music Seminar, and I was just like, I stepped to him, and I was just like, yo, like I'm not even tripping, but I'm just like, yo, man, I think we gotta, I think there's a misunderstanding.
Sure,
like, I don't know why you know what I'm saying, like whatever. And then, we never did get an opportunity to talk. So I guess it got that, time to fester or whatever. But then, no. But our next record was coming up. So I was like, yo, man,
so let's respond.
Let's respond to that. So we responded to Vanilla Ice had some old beef with us. Like, he thought he could dance better than us. So he had.
Didn't he say like I could dance like Kid and Boy?
Yeah, I dance better than any kid or player.
Yeah, that's what it was, right?
I was like, really? I was like, I don't even know this dude, man. Like, whatever.
Put another line in your hair.
We took care of them on the same record. It was a record matter of fact, that Pete Rock produced called Next Question.
Dope.
And we styled it like a press conference.
Okay.
And so somebody asked a question, and then we hit the rhyme.
Come in,
yeah. So I wrote the joint. So we chopped up Ice real quick. Then I chopped
and now you're touring with the man.
Then we chopped up, all that shit.
Yeah,
I
so
mean, Luke too.
Yeah.
I mean, all that stuff is that. Then we chopped up Luke, and then the funny part was it was a cool little record, whatever. But then Luke's next record about us was called Pussy Ass Kid and Hoe Ass Play. After that, I was like, this beef gotta stop, because I can't fight that. What about,
like, where do we go from there?
What am I supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? You could count the curses on all our Kid and Play records like on one hand. Man. So I don't know. He had more curses in one title.
Tap out.
Yeah, he had more curses in one title
than your whole career.
All our records, right?
Yeah.
But what ended up happening was, come to find out, we had a lot more mutual friends than we realized.
Right.
You know, people like Derek Coleman and all that. So, man, they brought all that stuff together. We all chilled all that stuff
Derek
out.
Coleman, the biggest contract in NBA history at one time.
Yeah,
remember that?
That's the homeboy.
Oh, man.
That's the homeboy. So one time I was in, I want to say I was in Atlanta.
Okay.
I was in Atlanta, and I went to the strip club with a buddy of mine.
Strip club capital of the United States.
Yeah, particularly at that time.
Yeah.
And I heard that somebody told me that Luke was there, and he was off in some corner like that. So I was like, this thing had gone on long enough. So I was like, man, I'm over it, man.
Right.
And people had been intermediaries had been talking and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I sent him over a bottle of champagne. And then he sent me back one. And then we started chit-chatting.
Nice
and then we just started laughing. We were like, man,
there's girls there. Let's throw some dollars and whatever.
And then ever since that, we see each other now. We laugh about it. You know, Ice, that stuff is so over with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We just did 60 dates with Ice last year in Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that stuff is over with. But, you know, it never got too hectic. And you know, there's always going to be that competitive vibe,
sure,
you know, in hip hop.
That's part of it always. That's never gonna go away.
That's you know,
So,
believe it or not, Kid and Play had beef.
That's amazing. So, you know, you guys had your run, and it was a fucking amazing run, right? And then House Party 2, House Party 3.
Right.
You know, you're starting to get older. Class Act was before 2 and 3. Was that?
It was between 2 and 3. Right. That's right.
So, you know, as any kind of career starts to go to a different place, when did you guys did you say, hey man, like, maybe we should, you know, just lay off for a little bit, or were you just not getting as many calls, or like how did that whole thing kind of?
A little bit of everything. You know, I think both personally and professionally. Professionally, the game was changing.
Right.
You know, the gangster rap was rolling in, and it was
Dre and all that stuff was killing.
Yeah, and it was you know, the Woo and you know, all just the harder edge stuff, and you know what I'm saying. So that by, you know, you talking about 94, 95.
Right. The Chronic and all that stuff had just gone.
They're killing the game. They're killing the game. Like, you know, once again, these people are friends of mine, but they were on fire.
It was clearly a different vibe than you guys had,
and not our steez.
Right.
So, you know, and then, you know, and in addition to, and movie-wise, it was kind of that same vibe as well. You know, people were just looking for harder edge stuff at that particular time. So it was a combination of maybe
that when like Juice and Boys in the Hood and all that stuff was coming out? Was that before you guys? Like, I'm trying to figure out what that was.
It was maybe like a, you know,
Menace to Society and all that stuff.
All
that transition was kind of happening.
It was all a part of everything, just really going in a harsher, darker direction.
Right.
So that was part of it, and then also too, you know, personally, you know, we were kind of going into two different places.
Yeah.
You know, Play was kind of unfulfilled at that particular time with the whole game, and you know, he had some relationships that hadn't gone right, and you know, he just wasn't feeling, you know, when he amassed all this.
When you have
this
everything at your disposal,
and you're still not happy,
right? Yeah,
so that was a thing, and then, you know, I was looking for some new challenges. You know, that's why I ended up jumping out to Cali. So, but the great news about it, you know, the silver lining, if you will, was, you know, there was never any beef between the two of us.
Right.
It was just, we more kind of like drifted apart.
You saw it come in.
But it was more like, you know what? Look, we couldn't have got here without one another.
Right.
We'll know if there's be a time in the future when it's time to put it back together.
Yeah.
You know, the landscape may have to change.
Sure.
We may have to change personally, but, you know, we trusted in it. Then we know. Look at all this stuff we did.
Right.
Let's go off and do some other things, man, and just trust in the process.
Yeah.
And if it comes back, it comes back. If not, you know,
hey, we did this.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. That's a hell of a resume.
We can't both keep chasing it. And we're both not feeling it individually and collectively. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. That's when groups really go south.
But you guys were smart because, I mean, I'm sure obviously maybe some of the work went away a little bit, but you also got ahead of it. You know, you did not quite the Barry Sanders, but you were close. You know, you're like, we're gonna get out before, you know, people starting to like say we're over our thing here.
It was
because you were young when you started too. I mean, you had a youthful thing going early on, right?
Right.
And then
we looked a lot younger than we actually were, which was kind of a good thing because that we were a little bit older, so we weren't as you know, as aggy or as unpredictable, if you will. But yeah, we just kind of felt like, hey man, this is, you know, and then look, for however long it lasted, was just like, yo, it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun anymore.
That's the key, right?
And that's our thing in anything that I do. Personally and professionally,
yeah.
But yeah, man, it wasn't fun. So like, yo, let's just chill, man. You know, if it's meant for us to put this back together, the universe will let us know. The fans will let us know.
Yeah.
And you know, over time,
it has happened. It literally has happened. This I Love the 90s shit is no, man. I mean, that I remember first seeing the posting for the I Love the 90s shit, and my first thought was I got a DJ on this tour because I play, you know, all that shit. And the second thought was just like, yes, you know, and I do have a problem with the fact that you guys have to do it as a festival, and somehow older hip hop acts can't exist on their own right now in the industry, which is I just don't understand it. How rock guys could play a show, but hip hop guys, like, somehow the industry hasn't learned, like, dude, these guys can sell tickets. Like, you just got to give them an opportunity, you know, and things like that. But
you may have a point, but what I will say is, you know, look. The people that do tours and stuff, like, you know, they do that stuff all the time.
Right.
So, you know, maybe they know that a little bit better than I don't know. But I do know that. Look, I like the format. I like the fact that there was a bunch of us because I mean, it was like a high school reunion, like every show, because
I can't even imagine.
We all knew each other from back in the days. We'd all performed with each other dozens and hundreds of times before. As opposed to back then, all the competitiveness and the thing, all that was gone.
Yeah.
Everything was everybody was rooting for each other. People get up on stage with each other,
cool.
and rock with each other every night, and all that kind of stuff. So all that stuff was gone. So, you know, if this is the way they run it, and that gives us, you know,
but also this is breaking it
back
back too. I mean, this is really the first attempt that I've noticed where this many artists have gotten together.
Yeah, but that's how we used to do it back in the days. People forget. Like we used to do like I can
block
show
parties and jams and all that kind of stuff.
I can show you some of these early tours as well. There was at least, you know, 4, 5, 6 groups on a tour.
Jump on.
Yeah, like, you know, and that made it sure we was gonna get everybody.
Absolutely.
You know, look, we toured with Kid and Play toured with NWA, Eazy-E back in the days. Okay, so if that ain't when worlds collide,
together,
between the two of them, we got everybody.
Right.
So, you know, that last year's tour was a blessing. I mean, it started off kind of innocently. We only had like maybe 15, 20
Just like House
dates.
Party, man. You started with a small thing and then boom.
The sucker blew.
Because you did what, like you said 60 days, right?
Yeah.
And now you got a whole nother
there's
round
another
coming
leg they're trying to do, like starting up in like May or June, and they're working on a European
saw that too
leg. So, you know, we'll see what happens with that. It was a great time.
And what's it like?
Awesome.
I mean, what's the audience like? Is it older kids? Is it younger kids? Like what?
No, I mean, it's grown. I mean, for the most part, you know, it's grown people in their, you know, late 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Just loving it.
Yeah, but there was a lot of stops on the way where we saw lots of young people. You know, if we hit a college town, you know, I know if you hit Missoula, Montana, there was a lot more young people than you would think.
Yeah,
which meant that somebody, you know, raised them right. Somebody, you know, they came up on that, or, you know, or they've been able to kind of find it, you know, as adults. You know, the music is at their fingertips now. So
you get hip to something and you can get
and
on
like
it.
I said, look, there's this move right now. A lot of these young artists today are celebrating the 90s and that vibe.
Yep.
So in turn, that
I see the samples creeping in.
That
all
falls
that
back on us, because people are like, oh, okay, these were the originals. These are the guys that did it. That my favorite rapper looks up. You know what I'm saying? We used to have a joke. I was like, hey man, I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. You know what I'm saying? So don't. You know
watch where you're stepping.
You know what I'm saying? There's a reason.
It's good.
There's a reason why you like me. I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper.
I love it.
So it was real communal. It was everybody, people hanging out in each other's bus, hanging out in each other's dressing room.
Right.
You know, going to after parties together. Like usually Coolio would have an after party in every city.
It's hot. Who's all on that tour? Just give a shout out real quick.
You're talking about Vanilla Ice, Salt and Pepper, Kid and Play, Coolio,
Young
Tone
MC,
Low, Young MC, Rob Bass, All for One, Color Me Bad.
Just
you know,
the shit that most of these kids actually were born because their parents were fucking listening to it. You know,
people and the fans love it. You know what I'm saying? The R&B groups come out and they do their joints. You know what I'm saying? And
the thing too is you guys can still dance. Those cats, I'm sure, can still sing. And to me, that's what's important, because if the industry's gonna take these older guys, because you can see a 50-year-old dude play guitar and no one says anything, but you see a 50-year-old guy rhyming, everybody kind of has this weird, I don't even know what the fuck it came from.
Right.
But when you guys do it, like when I saw CL, that dude's got it 10 times over. Like that dude's in shape. Awesome. He's got his shit together. And I'm sure you guys, because that's what's cool. Now it's like, oh wait, this isn't just some nostalgia money grab. Like this is like, these dudes still can do it. They got it.
Well, and because look, you know, knowing CL like I do, you know, and a lot of artists from that era, it's important. You know, that's how we did it back in the days.
Right.
So we don't want to limp back in this thing. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
You want to come back and be strong. And as an MC, you know, CL is the type of dude, they take that very seriously. Like, you know, performances, you know, getting with the crowd.
And y'all got that band behind them now and stuff.
Yeah,
it's real hot, man. Yeah.
Yeah, the band was great. So yeah, we saw that. We was like, yeah, and that's a way for him to jump back this time.
Yep.
Like you know, give him some of that old flavor, but you know, he holding their hand like, hey, come mess with me. Listen to these new beats. Yeah. Listen to this band. We got so much more versatility, you know, things we can work with.
Sure.
You know, I got a DJ up in there, but I got a saxophone, I got a background singing,
it's
I got
hot.
the dude on the keys and whatnot. So, and that's gonna help the music grow, and the band fits more into the new music that we've been recording. So.
And on that note, man, where are you headed? What do you got? I mean, obviously we're going to talk a little bit about Kid and Blaze, but like, you know, you're at a position where I'm sure you can kind of do what you want to do. And so, what is it that you want to do?
I mean, look, I'm going to try to do, you know, keep doing the different things that I'm doing, and then expand as well. I mean, you know, we're going to continue to, you know, we'll appropriate a respectful. Touring schedule. We got to figure out what that is. Right now, I'm fitting in, you know, comedy dates around the country with that as well, because, you know, that tour went off so crazy last year that I kind of had to put the stand up, you know,
caught you off guard a little bit. Yeah.
So, you know, you got to roll with you know
what's hot and what's working.
Hot. Yeah. You know what? I've been really successful in the voiceover game these last few years.
Yeah, man, I was checking that too.
So we're doing that. You know, writing and producing for other people, working with young artists like my man he's the sax player for in CL's band, the guy.
Yeah, I met him.
Biscuit.
Yeah.
So we just did a new joint with Biscuit, and
he got that Troy. He was playing it live. I was just like, oh man, it's so good.
Yeah, it's dope. Yeah, it's dope. And so so that keeping that energy,
right?
You know, obviously the outside interests like Kid and Blaze is really important, and not and Kid and Blaze is important for a lot of different reasons, because there's gonna be a musical and media arm.
Why not? I mean, it'd be
Kid
dumb
and
not
Blaze
to,
as well.
right?
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's another way. You know, to your point earlier about how do you age gracefully in hip hop? Well, I think that's part of the way. You know, obviously, once again, you got to be yourself, but. Look, this is what Cats is into, and look, it helps if that's really how you live your life.
That's
like
the thing.
You know, I got into this. I wasn't really like this back in the days. I wasn't like this in New York coming up. I wasn't a big weed smoker at all.
Talk about
that's
that.
When I got out here.
I was gonna ask you because you know,
blame Bill Maher.
So
for everything.
First of all, do you remember the first time you blazed up, and then what was your relationship with weed, and then when did it become a thing? Because you know, my dad never really drank, but like when I was a kid, I'd take my friends over to his Trans Am with T-tops, and you look in the ashtray, and I see the roaches, you know what I mean? Because that was my dad's thing. So I've always had, I never was afraid of weed, really, because it was around, and it was just kind of this thing, you know?
And it's kind of weird. Everybody grows up different. Look, my dad was Jamaican, and he never smoked weed.
Wow.
That wasn't even like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I could never let him.
The stereotype was not there.
No, he's too old school.
Yeah.
So I just dipped and dabbed, you know, very little in high school and college, and it wasn't until I started coming out here. And
Cali does it to
smoking,
you, man.
Yeah, started smoking what they smoking out here.
Yeah.
And then also, too, you know, through people like Bill Maher, I got to meet people in the business, in the growing industry, you know, early in the game.
Yeah. People
like Todd McCormick and Woody Harrelson and people like that were not just...
Who were looking ahead. Like, they were visionaries in the whole thing.
I never forget my good friend Todd McCormick. Back in the days, he used to tell us these things. He said, "Man, one day you're just gonna be able to walk into a store and just buy it." And
you're like,
"Motherfucker, you crazy? Get the fuck out of here! Pass that joint, motherfucker." Matter of fact, don't.
Close the window and then pass the joint.
And everything he said came to pass.
Yeah.
And he was a guy that, you know, they put him away. They put him away for about 4 or 5 years, man. And he came back out.
Well, even like the Cheech and Chong shit, like all these weird things. It's like we're gonna laugh so hard about that stuff. Like,
well, and that's
you know,
what. And then to this day,
you know,
but it's something. Honestly, it's something still a little bit careful about, because, look, everything is not black and white yet. There's a lot of gray areas, particularly in line with,
especially with the new politics and shit that's happening.
Yeah,
who knows
what the state is and what the federal law is.
Right.
Like you always have to watch and see if there's exposure, because like a Tommy Chong, or Woody, they'd love to get somebody like me. You know what I'm saying?
Because then you're the poster child of the thing.
Yeah, we're big fish.
Right.
You'd love to get, you know, that type of thing. So look, I'm learning all the time. I have some great partners.
I can tell, man. You take it real seriously. You know, I know. So you're working with like strain producers and that kind of shit too.
Yeah, we have. You know, we tried to put together a squad that could.
You did it almost like a Diddy, man. You got your whole team of the weed guys.
Because you need. You know, one of the partners is great because he runs dispensaries, so he's our frontline guy. He knows in terms of what the public is wanting to buy and all that kind of stuff. You got to have a great grower. We got a great grower who gave us,
and are you out there sampling shit? Are you trying different things?
Early on, before we decided our first strain was going to be called Kid and Cookies, yeah, we tried it out. I mean, we all talked about it. They were like, well, how do you like to feel? I said, well, look, I like to, I want to get high, but,
I want to be knocked out.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I don't, not for this first strain. Like, this first strain had to be very, very important because we might not get a second chance at them.
So you don't want to be so specific to one kind of buzz or whatever.
I mean, for me personally, what works is when you can get high, but you can still function.
Yeah, you can be creative. You can get in the booth. You can do whatever.
Get in the booth or go finish working or write something or whatever.
Yeah.
Not like I'm not ready to go to sleep yet.
Staring at the TV.
It's 2 in the afternoon. I want to go to sleep, but I want to get high.
Yeah.
So, little stuff like that. And then you tweak it, and then you test market it. I mean, we gave out a gang of weed, and we were getting feedback, from dispensaries here in Los Angeles and up in Bakersfield. So we were finding out little things about our strain so that you could either tweak, get rid of, or keep going. We found out that the customers were very satisfied with the high, but they also said, hey, man, like this really helps with my aches and pains.
Right.
Like particularly like some older cats, people in their 50s and 60s were coming in and saying, hey man,
my joints are working better.
Really,
or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
No pun intended.
And it's true because I feel that way myself. It works with me.
No,
that
I'm
way.
with you. Same shit.
That's that type of thing. So Kid and Cookies has been the first strain. We're doing well with it.
Yeah.
I think there's another harvest shortly to come.
Okay.
And then look down the line. We'd love to introduce more strains. There's Kid and Blaze as a brand is something that we're looking to license because so there'll be Kid and Blaze bongs and grinders and
what do you feel about like the vape or the oils and shit? Like that's not my bag. Like I still like to smoke flowers, but where are you at on that?
Well, look, it's a part of the thing. I mean, we've done cartridges, oil cartridges with Kid and Blaze.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes that's all you got. Like today, I don't got no tree on me, but I got a vape. So like you know what I'm saying, like so that you never stuck without nothing,
right?
But sometimes you can't just light a blunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you gonna do? It's like, all right, let me just hit this real quick and then keep it moving. But you're right. There was a phase when the vapes was out and me too. I was like vaping all the time, and then you just like, well, you know what? Sometimes I like the taste of the leaf or I like the taste of a blunt.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like
you're going back and forth.
You go back and forth. You go back and forth.
So who's somebody that no one would think can smoke you under the table that's out there? Do you got? I don't want you to put anybody on blast, but
well, I've smoked with a lot of interesting people.
Like, because that's the thing with weed. Like, especially when we moved to LA, almost every creative person smokes at some point.
Yeah, and usually, once again, I don't want to keep calling his name like I'm
Bill?
Haunting him, but yeah. I mean, he's got me into a lot of weird. Look, I mean, and not just him. All right, I'll tell you some of the interesting people I smoke with. The late great Alan Thicke. I smoked with him a few times. Great guy.
Hey man,
wonderful
Kirk
dude.
Cameron's dad.
Wonderful dude. Roseanne
no
Barr.
Shit. That'd be cool.
Smoke with Roseanne. He'll kill me for this, but that's my boy. David Justice.
No shit.
Yeah,
Atlanta Braves, baby.
Yeah. David Justice. We used to get blazed up. And I'll tell you one of the weird not weird, but a weird in a good way. One time I was hanging up in Seattle doing some promotional work, and we were in this club on a Monday night, some spot, and we were in the manager's basement downstairs, and it was like, I had like a little cipher going, and so we're in a cipher where Gary Payton hands me
the glove
joint, and I hit it. And I hand it to Dave Grohl.
You're like, whoa.
That's a pretty good night.
You're like, damn.
Yeah, that's a pretty good night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's been interesting. And there's people I'm forgetting because I get high so much. But it's more than the usual suspects. It ain't just the Coolios and the Tone Locs.
It's becoming
and the
real
Bob Bases.
commerce right now, man. And it's like, I mean, I'm thinking about it like, it's almost going to be like opening a bar. I think eventually once things start kind of happening, because alcohol, I drink, I like drinking, but there's a certain kind of hangover thing that weed just doesn't have, or like the productive, like usually once you start drinking, your productivity kind of starts to dwindle a little bit. Whereas like I think you can open a weed shop where someone might come in there and bring their laptop and do some work, or whatever it is.
They do it like that in a lot of those different places. And
right.
I'm sure they do that up there. And I've been to places like in Vancouver.
Yeah,
where
up
they do
north.
That, where,
yeah,
like the thing you're just saying.
That's going to be happening.
And ain't nobody
out here.
tripping. Yeah. I mean, that's definitely the future. But like I said, we still have to be careful as it still rolls out, because you know what I'm saying. Yeah, and even though the individual states maybe have changed some of their regulations. Look, the feds are still the feds, and that's that. You got to figure that out.
Like you said too, you're a mark, because like if they can get somebody who kids see, oh shit, that's that guy I know. And he got, so that's a statement. Whereas,
but if we do it right, then all of a sudden, to me,
you change the policy.
Kid and Blaze, and it's already done that to a certain degree. We just got to just keep putting it more and more. Like Kid and Blaze becomes cool, and then Kid and Blaze, helps Kid and Play.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean? It makes us, it makes young people, relevant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man.
I'll see you out there.
Getting this, what's that? Stain. Yeah. The band Stain? Yeah. Fantastic. Do you know him?
Yeah, we'll see you out there, boss. Yeah. You know where we at. We here all the time.
Yeah. You're getting shot outs left and right over here, man. So, hey, I don't want to keep you too much longer, dude, but I feel like I'm in the presence of somebody who's lived a hip-hop life. And you guys and what you did, like everybody says, oh, that's the person who opened the door for this person, or that, you guys really brought hip hop to a commercial package that the whole world can kind of take in. And like you said, I think you've even been quoted, you're like, I'm the one hip hop act that parents can let their kids listen to, even if they hated it, and
yeah. And the parents came around. Look, they were a lot of the parents was like, they were like my parents.
Yeah.
Like, what is this?
Right.
But why does it have this hold on my child?
Yeah.
And I used to tell them, I said, look, investigate it.
Right.
Find out what you like and don't like. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like you said, you couldn't get the
couldn't
two
get
live
Luke.
through.
Yeah.
Right. They might let you get mine, but they wasn't gonna let you get his.
Sure.
Just kind of help.
I could have Arrested Development. I could have all these other
regulate
things.
But
yeah,
help regulate it or whatever until they as they continue to kind of understand it and look, that's what millions of parents did to the point where.
Rock and roll was the same shit, early on.
They all went through that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't let the people go out to the blues clubs or the rock and roll clubs or the jazz clubs. It's very cyclical.
Right.
But we're at a point now where the kids that grow up today, like my kids, they've never not known hip hop.
Exactly.
They've never not known it.
It's like the internet.
Like I'm old enough to remember when before hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that's not the case now. So we're in a different time, a different era. But it's based on some real sound footing and foundation to me. And I tell the young cats all the time. I said, look, the foundation in the past, it's at your fingertips, man. You know what I mean? Find out. Know your history.
Yeah.
Know your history. I mean, all great musicians and entertainers at some point in time go back and find out like what are the classics?
Right.
What was Miles Davis doing? What was Mozart like? What if you want to find out what some of the anchors of hip hop were doing, then go back and check out your Curtis Blow. Go back and check out your Grandmaster Fast and the Furious 5. Go back and check out Public Enemy. Go back and check out Kid and Play, Salt and Pepper. This is a treasure trove, man. I mean, and it was and now it's too late, man. It's
happening.
It's here to stay, man. I've been ever since we started, we've been hearing about hip hop's demise.
Right.
And
it ain't happening.
No, not a chance.
Not a chance, man. So hey, that's the words of advice to live by. Just real quick, the last thing here, you got to give me one road story when you guys were top of the top. Just something that was real special. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, even just something that stands out in your mind where you were like, holy shit, like I am here, like there's this place I'm sure in your mind.
Well, you know what? To me, I don't know, man. To me, it I don't want it to sound cliche, but I mean, there's been just dozens and dozens and hundreds of different moments. Yeah, I mean, like, and it's funny because on this last I Love the '90s tour, there were some cities we would go on Salt and Pepper's bus and travel with them to the next city. You know what I'm saying? And it was just so weird. You know, we're all there and we've known each other for a long time. And you know, we opened for them back in 88. You know, we were on their bus in 1988. And so we're just sitting there and you know, you can't believe it. You can't believe it that they're here and we're here and those audiences are here.
Right.
I mean, one of the great things about last year's tour was just the fervent nature of the people. Like, they were coming there dressed in the old gear and the jeans
got the baggy,
and the baggy and the cross colors and the colorful stuff and the Dookie roll chains and getting their hair did
the
and
Kangol
salt and pepper jackets and the Kangos and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you know, we just
you were a part of that.
For a few hours. We ain't got no kids. You know these kids.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? F the kids for
let's
a
blaze,
few hours.
let's have a drink and let's
They're having a great time.
Yeah.
They're drinking like a motherfucker, boy. That's another reason why this tour took off too, because
sales.
The building owners were just like, well, not only are we selling out damn near every night, these niggas is drinking, man. They drinking, and so that people were
all
like,
part
just
of
started
it, man.
picking up. So, look, it was great to spend that time back with them, and then, you know, look, not knowing what was going to happen, that it would continue to blow up and that there'd be opportunities, you know, this year as well.
Sure.
You don't know that. I mean, that could have been a few people's last tour last year. You know, now it doesn't look like it, but it was great to spend that time with the fans again. And to be honest, you know, we got to meet a lot of them. They're doing meet and greets before and after the show.
Right.
And when you hear some of these stories, man, it's really like humbling. Like, you're just like,
wow.
Like, really? Like
I met my girl doing this, or I did that, or
One quick thing I'll tell you, because it's something that I've heard a lot of over the years, and you know, we didn't plan this, but you know what, we'll accept it. So many times, you know, and if Play and I were together or individually, a lot of times somebody would come up to us and be like, "Hey, man, I love y'all dudes, man. Y'all was coming up and whatever," and you know, they used to call. I had a homeboy I used to hang with, man. They used to call us Kid and Play, man, because we were always together. And we didn't. So then, you know, over time, it's like
your name became
it becomes synonymous with friendship,
right,
and loyalty.
That's hot,
and
man.
Sticking together.
Yeah.
So, you know, people would say stuff like, "Yo, man, don't try to split them two up, man. Them dudes tight like Kid and Play, man."
That's
like,
hot.
you know, and so that's what that becomes. And so when you hear that stuff, you're just like, wow, man, because, you know, look, I know me. I know who I am, you know, for the most part, and then you know who you are, you know, behind closed doors or whatever like that. And you're just like, man, like,
I did that.
It's an honor when people bring you in their lives and they tell you how important. And trust me, they mean it.
That's the thing.
They're
paying the $60. They're showing up to the shows.
They mean it.
They're doing the thing.
They got the old album covers and the cassettes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, who? You know what I'm saying? Like, who keeps that?
Right.
If it
that's how much
if
you
it
meant.
doesn't, unless it means something to you.
Fantastic.
So that's what it is. So to all your listeners, you know, peace. You know, we either see you out on the road, we'll see you on a comedy stage or some kind of capacity.
Give a rundown about Kid and Blaze, where they can get at you on that.
You know what, Kid and Blaze, you know, the best bet is to, you know, if you follow us on Instagram at Real Kid and Blaze, or on Twitter at Kid and Blaze, or, you know, the website is kidandblaze.com.
All right, man.
You know, it'll continue to keep expanding, man. Like I said, we're gonna throw some music on it and other things to kind of help promote it as well. So the good news is the trees is hot.
But it's more to it. So I'll be on it,
right? But it's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of being. And in these days and times, you know, we need all of the positive energy and free form thinking that we can have.
You tell me, man. All right, so I'm here with Kid, man. We're about, it's 5,000. We're gonna do it. This is Deeper Shade of Soul podcast. Thanks, man.